Hey everybody, we're back. Sorry we've been video deficient lately, but hopefully this makes up for it. We're doing something kind of cool tonight. We're going to be making barbecue sauce. A shit ton of barbecue sauce. Come check it out. That's what we've done so far. We're going to make about 3 times as much of that. We're going to do a sweet barbecue sauce, which is what this is. We're going to do a spicy barbecue sauce. I'm going to show you the spicy barbecue sauce, because really the only difference between the sweet and the spicy is in the spicy we puree some chipotle peppers and adobo sauce in the sweet. Some basic ingredients. Don't freak out when you see this. We're making, like I said, a shit ton. We're making enough for 100 people, literally. So I got this set out. We've already made some. We're going to make some. I'm just going to do one session, one batch with you all so you can see how we do it. But some basic ingredients. You got to have tomatoes, canned tomatoes. Let's try and do this in order. You got to have Leon Perrin's Worcestershire, molasses, honey, Dijon mustard, red wine vinegar. Of course, I mentioned chipotle peppers and adobo, dark brown sugar, homemade, of course, chili powder. Made that up last night. You gotta have Spanish onions and about 10 cloves of garlic.
And ketchup.
Oh, and ketchup, yes, of course. So that's the ingredients. The process is really pretty simple, but you gotta have a blender and you gotta have a good blender. We've got a KitchenAid. While we're on the subject of appliances, I highly recommend KitchenAid, and they're not paying me to say that. I've never had a bad KitchenAid appliance, and I've had some bad kitchen appliances. Okay, you saw how we got the big pot going. We want a medium-sized pot, medium to large-sized pot. We'll start there. You're going to want 4 tablespoons of oil. We're using canola oil. It really doesn't make any difference, but 4 tablespoons in the bottom of it. I'm going to break here. I'm going to cut these up. I've cut up onions and garlic in front of you before. There's really no sense. We're going to try and make this a quick video and rip right through it. So we'll be back in a second. We got our onions, 2 onions diced up. We got our 10 cloves of garlic diced up in 4 tablespoons of canola oil. By the way, it can be any oil. It can be vegetable oil, corn oil, whatever you prefer. Crank this up to medium-high. And we got a wooden spoon. Just want to mix that up periodically so that the onions don't burn. A lot of chefs per se, and I'm not one, but a lot of chefs will do the onions first for 5 or 6 minutes and then they'll add the garlic because they're afraid of the garlic burning. I'm not. I've done this 100 times and I've never once burned the garlic by adding the garlic all at once. We're trying to be efficient here, especially when we're making a large quantity like this. So we're just going to let this simmer for a few minutes till the onions become translucent. If they don't all cook together, it doesn't matter, because as you see, we're going to cook it down after we get done blending it up. So we'll be back after that's ready. Okay, save time while the onions are cooking. Let's blend up these tomatoes. These are plum tomatoes. You want the liquid too. This is easy. Okay, those are good and pureed up. That's going to be the next ingredient that we're going to add to the barbecue sauce once the onions are done. Okay, now that the onions and garlic are cooked up, we're going to add our tomato puree. Keep that burner on medium-high. Mix that up. Okay, and we're going to add 2 cups of water to that. Why the water? We're going to add 12 tablespoons of ancho chili powder. And the chili powder is dry. And if we were to add that to this without the water, it would just coagulate. It wouldn't be like a sauce. It would get clumpy. Oh, that's no good. Okay, when that becomes when that starts to simmer, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, and then we'll blend it up. All right, now it's time to add the extra ingredients, or the other ingredients. Start with the Worcestershire. Do half a cup. Do the red wine vinegar. Half a cup. Ketchup. Half a cup. Molasses. Oh, look at that. Half a cup. Okay. We're going to do 4 tablespoons of honey. Okay. We want to do 6 tablespoons dark brown sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that takes care of the sweet. Now for the main attraction. I want to do 12 tablespoons of ancho chili powder.
12?
12.
JFC. I'm having the sweet.
It's funny you should mention that, because the sweet, guess how many tablespoons of ancho chili powder it got?
6.
12. The only difference between the sweet and the hot is I put 8 tablespoons of honey, and I did not put the chipotles. Okay. We want 8 chipotle peppers. These things are amazing. There we go. Now we're going to mix this up, let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to blend it up. Okay, so that's simmered. Now we're ready to blend it up. We're almost there, gang. Now you could, if you're really skilled, just pour this into the blender. But I don't recommend it.
Me neither.
So we're going to ladle this in. You don't want to fill the blender. This is a hot liquid, and when you blend it, it's going to blow up on you. We'll get into that in a minute. But we want to take this about halfway. You can try not to spill. That's a complete waste of time. Okay, that's good. Okay, now we'll take this over to the blender. Top on. Now this is extremely important. I've mentioned this in videos previous. I think the chimichanga video I mentioned this, and it's very important. If you hit the button now, the top's going to blow off this, and you're going to burn your face, and you're going to get barbecue sauce all over the kitchen. Not a cool scene. So when they tell you on the cooking shows to get a towel and put it over top and put pressure on it, they ain't joking. Because when you hit this button, it's all you can do to keep the top down. Did you see that? Just see my arm flinch?
Do it again.
Good. Okay, we're going to do this in batches. I'm not going to do this every time for you. What we're going to do now is we want to transfer this to a different pot so we can simmer just like the other barbecue sauce did. So we're going to turn it to medium low. And the reason we want medium low and not medium or medium high is because you put a shit ton of sugar in there and it's going to burn. And the last thing you want is burned up barbecue sauce. So just medium low is fine. So what I'll do now, I'll just repeat the process. I'll just ladle this back in the blender, blend it up, transfer the blended up liquid to the big pot, let it simmer for about an hour. That's what we're going to do now. I'll get back with you. Okay, basically that's it. I mean, we got everything blended up here. Come here, babe. This is what it looks like when you first get it blended. This is what it looks like after it's simmered for a couple hours. That looks like Sweet Baby Ray's. That looks like, I don't know, a bunch of pureed tomatoes and chili powder. But this is why you want to let it simmer for a couple hours, let it get that deep, rich flavor and dark color. Alright, and so now is when Chef does his honor. He seasons it. Okay? You gotta add salt to this. We haven't added salt. Needs a lot of salt. And pepper. So we'll add a couple pinches of black pepper. Fresh ground, of course. And we'll add just a little bit of kosher salt. That was a little bit for a pot that size. You want to take it easy on the kosher salt. And the reason is, kosher salt, sea salt, it's big. It takes a while for it to dissolve into the liquid. And if you add too much, you know, I could taste this right now and it could be perfect. But, you know, after a while, after it sits here and simmers, that salt's going to continue to dissolve. And you could come back to this 10 minutes from now and it could be too salty. So make sure when you add the salt to taste, you do so very gingerly. Maybe do it 3 or 4 times as opposed to doing it all at once, and that'll save you the hassle of throwing it out and having to start from scratch, because you can't unsalt anything, especially not barbecue sauce. So basically that's it. We just made barbecue sauce. The ingredients, you're welcome to use those in the regiments. You're welcome to email me and get the quantities. I was pretty liberal with how I added this, and that's basically barbecue sauce. You can add anything to it you want to. You can leave the molasses out. You can add more honey. You can add more ketchup, more Lee and Perrins, whatever you want. But that's the basic base to barbecue sauce. You start with onions and garlic, you saute them, you puree tomatoes, you add that, and then you just go to town. Throw anything at it you want. We did a sweet, we did a hot, and really the only difference between the two, I used more honey on the sweet with no chipotles, and I used chipotles on the hot with less honey. And that's it. Everything else was basically the same. And we've done this a few times, and we, you know, we're pretty satisfied with it. The nice thing about doing it in quantity, we're doing it in quantity tonight because we're cooking for a bunch of people this weekend. But even if we weren't, if you're going to go to the trouble of making barbecue sauce, don't make barbecue sauce for just one meal. Don't say, okay, I'm going to do ribs this weekend and just make one batch of barbecue sauce. Why waste your time? Make a bunch of barbecue sauce. This stuff lasts a week in the refrigerator, or it lasts a lifetime in the freezer. So just freeze it. It's just as good when you thaw it. So if you're going to go to the trouble of getting all this stuff out and getting the blender out and using 2 different pots, you know, make a large quantity of it so that it's there for you. But anyway, we're going to try not to be so, you know, spaced out between our videos. We're going to try and do some more here in the near future. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you try this, and I hope you you expand on it. I hope you add some other stuff to it. Maybe you want to add an ingredient you're thinking of, and you can definitely do that. But this is basic barbecue sauce. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.